For the murder of the wounded, looting, cannibalism, you are hereby sentenced to death by hanging. Or torment.
Don't meddle. Take the reward and let's go.
Help me!
Knew you witches wouldn't scorn imperial gold. Tough hunt.
Tougher than yours, that's certain. Evil is evil. Lesser, greater, middling, makes no difference.
Can't fit me.
Bring her down. Do it my way. You like that, you bitch? Get the hammer. Kick her teeth in.
The degree is arbitrary, the definition's blurred. If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all.
Just make it quick, Geralt.
What the?
Close your eyes.
Hit him! What are you doing?
Killing monsters.
All right. Episode 17, Consequences. Dryden has secured the amulet for Aaron, the priestess of the Temple of the Sun, a cult that worships that glowing orb that gives life to everyone and everything. But not everything seems so straightforward, though the Witcher does not seem to notice. Meanwhile, Sir Carthis, Grimwolf, and Endry rush back to Fallenstein's modest home with the curative ingredients that might save the child's life. Did they tarry too long in their fight with the bandits? Or will they offer up what is needed to prevent another senseless death? Alright. You guys are not in the right layer. There we go. It's been an hour or two since you've left the bonfire. Roger and John, the hunters with Endry, have come away with the weeds and the plants needed for the child's potential elixir. Dryden, meanwhile, has moved on, riding back towards the temple and leaving you all to do your business. He was of one mind, simple and direct. He was here for one reason: to reclaim the amulet for Aaron, and he had done so. Sir Carthis, Grimwolf, and Endry, you approach the house. As before, there is no signs of life. You may begin.
Carthis would look about. Right, let's go ahead and get this done. Be back. I'm sure Dryden is capable. He shouldn't travel alone. Carthis will begin walking towards the homestead.
Endry is on the heels of Carthis. He's holding in his bag the necessary herbs for the child. And he kind of peeks around, a bit excitedly, a bit nervously, at the house. I hope we're back in time.
As do I.
Grimwolf taking up the last of the group. He's looking around the area, kind of suspicious because it seems a little more quiet than normal. I must be careful. Who knows what happened after we left?
A good point. We'll be cautious, but I expect he tries to keep a low profile, not make much noise.
You walk to the door and you realize that it is open. The sun. Actually, it's night. The moonlight shines in through the open door. You see a candle flickering inside. It's hard to see anything other than that.
And then what was the name of this man again?
Fallenstein?
Valentine? So Carthis, not wanting to repeat the previous meeting, will rap on the door with a bit of force, not too lightly, because he figures Fallenstein may turn in. He raps on the door and... Fallenstein? Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Come in.
Carthis comes into the room.
Endry again steps in beside Carthis, taking the bag, holding his hands, looking around for Fallenstein. We have the herbs!
It might be too late. You see Fallenstein seated at the table. His head is in his hands, his head bowed, with the baby laying on the table before him. Bring the herbs over. I'll mix them together if we can get the child to take them. He's almost beyond this realm, I'm afraid.
Sir Carthis will pat Endry to go over and give him the bag.
Yeah, Endry will quickly hurry over, scrambling beside the chairs, rushing beside Fallenstein and holding the bag out to him. Here!
Fallenstein takes the bag. Looked after the child for a few minutes while I concoct this.
Of course. And Endry holds out his arms to take the baby.
He leaves you with his baby that his skin is sick yellow with no real... It's not squalling, it's not moving overly much.
Endry takes the baby into his arm and kind of bounces around lightly with it, comfortably, kind of smiling down at it. Hey there! Is this gonna be okay?
It certainly does not respond.
Endry keeps cradling the baby and looking nervously to the kitchen, looking over to Sir Carthis. Everything's gonna be okay, right?
Carthis looks at Endry and... We can only hope.
Endry nods and continues to tend to the baby, putting a hand on its cheek and trying to get some movement out of it as he's cradling it.
Eventually, Fallenstein returns with what appears to be a small cup, actually, of a white liquid. You heard him using a knife to chop something up, and it looks like some disgusting, concoction of water, milk, and then chopped up weeds that you had found. Well, someone must help me try to force the child to drink. Hold its head back, boy. Looking at Endry.
Of course. Endry kind of awkwardly cradles the baby with one arm and holds the baby's head back with the other.
Now, let us prepare and pray to the sun that she watches over this child. And he bows his head and begins to pray. Let us hope that she is not angered by the false priestess and what she has done to these lands. And he begins to pour the elixir into the child's mouth. Who wants to roll me 1d100?
Not this guy.
Do it.
Yes.
No.
Go ahead, Endry. You're the one holding the baby's head.
You see the baby. It begins to spit it up. And Fallenstein, we must force it to drink. And he pulls the baby away from you, cranes the head back, and continues to try to feed it this elixir. But Endry, it's very clear that the baby's just simply choking to death.
And Endry looks up at him. Wait, it's still not. Hey, it's not working. You're just drowning it.
He grunts. If I cannot get this child to take it, it will die.
Maybe we can. I don't know. Instead of just forcing it down its throat, maybe if we could, I don't know, some sort of tube-like thing, put it down its throat. Maybe that'll work.
You have a tube on you, do you?
No. Endry looks over to Sir Carthis and then Grimwolf. He looks very distressed.
And Carthis looks at Endry and nods. Come here, boy.
Okay. Endry hurries over to Sir Carthis. Yeah.
The man is doing what he can, but he is right. I know nothing of medicine. I don't think anyone else does beyond what we've already learned. If the man can't get the child to drink, it's lost.
Yeah, he tries to force his finger down its throat. You can tell he's trying some things and continues to try to pour it in there, and it's just no use, and finally the baby just stops moving altogether as he's pouring it in. Ah, by the gods! He lays the baby down roughly on the table, sits down in the chair. Another loss.
Endry steps very slowly to the table, face gaunt, knuckles white as he puts his hands on the edge of the table, gripping it. There's nothing else. There's gotta be something. Anything.
No, lad. Carthis puts his hand on Endry's shoulder. This is the way of the world sometimes. Those that do not deserve to pass do. And the opposite from time to time.
Wallenstein looks up and says, I will dig another grave.
No, no. And he kind of motions for him to stay. You are hurt. Let us do this. You have 5 able-bodied souls here. We'll dig a good grave for the boy and the others as well.
Takes a deep breath. Very well. I do appreciate it. I suppose the only place I can get proper healing is at the temple. I won't be welcome there.
Do you know anyone there who still might help you? Perhaps we could bring them here.
Most of the priests and priestesses were run out when I left. Doubt that there's anyone left that knows me, besides Aaron. But there's towns nearby, but perhaps you could convince her. They have poultices and salves there.
I have a horse. I would not mind a walk. If you do not mind to ride, we could perhaps take you to one of the nearby villages. See if they have a healer.
Too far, I'm afraid. This is growing infected. He touches his leg. It's hot to the touch now. It's only a matter of time before I become delirious.
I would treat with Erin. See if she is going to be magnanimous. A decent sword in her position.
Very well, I will rest until you're ready to go. He looks down at the child and closes its eyes.
Have you a spade? Any tools?
There's a shovel outside from my previous work.
Carthis nods and looks at Grimwolf and the others. If you lot would not mind helping me with the dig, I will take the child.
The Johns nod and we can get that for you.
He nods and he grabs the baby. And Grimwolf, would you help as well?
Aye. It's the only right thing to do.
Come now, Endry. Put my hand on his shoulder. One of the hardest parts of living this life is having to bury your friends. Or the fallen. But it is a skill you should know how to have. Come.
Endry seems to snap out of whatever he was thinking when Sir Carthis places a hand on his shoulder. Looks up to him, eyes darkening, and he just nods.
So, Sir Carthis will, allowing whoever to use the shovel, it matters not. He would work with the others to dig proper graves, in a hurried sense, because he knows that the old man's life does rest in the balance. Time is of the essence, but he does dig some deeper graves for those that have been lost before, as well as the child, and more or less buries them in a group burial.
Sir Carthis and the rest begin to bury the dead, or rebury them for those that are in a shallow grave, which Fallenstein did bury a few. It doesn't take long, not even an hour, before you're done. The sweat on your brow, the dirt on your hands. The child that was alive just moments ago now covered in dirt, eventually for the worms to eat his flesh and his body to dissolve into nothing more than fertilizer for some plant or weed to grow over top of him.
Carthis looks to the others, and there's not many words to be said. They were not known. He nods. We'd best be off. Need to make good time so another is not added to their collection. He goes to turn, and a rather grim look on his face begins to unbridle the horse. From the, unrope the horse that he had left to the tree.
Endry starts preparing his horse. He was pretty silent the whole time of the burial. As he does, he seems to be getting a bit frustrated as he's getting his horse ready and gets on fairly aggressively. You know, if this whole Priestess Erin thing is right, this whole thing is... it's her fault.
Aye, it may very well be, lad, but we can't rightly prove it, can we?
No, but it's gotta be something we can do.
There is. We can save this man's life.
It doesn't feel like enough.
You would hope we could return him to his congregation, his flock, yes? And, well, then all is right and forgiven.
I don't know. Maybe.
We still have a lot to learn about the religion. It's not about what's right, it's about what the mass follows.
There's an answer from a smart man. He's exactly right, Endry. Well, I would love to try to bring this man some semblance of peace. Bring him back into the life he once knew. A good and decent life, I'm sure. Religion is a complicated beast. Even more complicated than politics, I'm afraid. There's not really ever any clear sense of right and wrong, no matter how clear the scriptures, no matter how certain the prophets. Who is to say that he was not wrong and she is not right in matters of the gods? I know very little. But I know this. She has the temple. She has the followers. If we were to contest her, we'd have to have irrefutable evidence to show. And we simply do not, other than the word of those who are outside of the religion. And the word of a man who is now branded a heretic by her. Not very compelling truth.
Endry looks down. I understand. It's still frustrating.
It's a difficult lesson to learn. But we've tarried here a bit too long, I think. We must get back. We will try to right wrongs, perhaps. Perhaps Erin will be a decent sword and give this man the chance to keep living on.
And perhaps is the way if we call her out in front of the masses. Maybe she can force her to aid another child of the religion.
I'd like to give her the opportunity to be a good and decent soul by bringing it to her directly, but if it comes to that, I'll do what I can to save his life. I don't think a man deserves to die in the state that he's in. He did all he could for that child. There's a decent man in there, no matter what he might have done before. Allegedly.
No, that I agree with.
Let's carry on. We'll take turns riding the horse. It's only fair. You may start, Endry, and every few hours of travel, we shall make sure to rotate till we've all had our fair share of time. It's a long walk.
Yes, Sir Carthis. Endry hops up on the horse and starts riding out.
You're taking Fallenstein with you, right?
Oh, I did not realize. I thought he was gonna rest.
Oh no, he was saying that he was going to come with you to
Oh, then yes, sure.
I mean, he can stay here too. That's fine too. It doesn't
You
matter.
can get on the
It's
horse
fine.
then.
Yeah, let him ride. I would let him ride though. So yeah, so I'd mend that.
Okay, sorry.
Whenever
That
he's
wasn't clear.
yeah, no, you're good. So whenever he's coming out on his cane, stick, whatever he has, there's walking stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd bring the horse over to the porch. And are you decent enough to ride? I can guide the horse, but you'd have to keep your balance on it.
I should be fine for now. I might need a hand though, and he labors in getting up into the saddle, but eventually does so.
Very good. We've got a fairly decent journey ahead of us, but if you need a rest, let us know. We can stop.
No, I'll be fine. I do thank you, Sir Carthis.
Don't thank me yet. I'm bringing you into the lion's teeth.
As I have asked you to. That is all I can ask. Safety is... well, it is not my wish to be crucified, but if it happens, then I will go to the gods knowing of my benevolence and my pure heart.
Of all the things that could happen, I can assure you that will not come to pass. The crucifixion, of course. Your gods, I hope you go to them, but not in that fashion. I won't let it happen.
Well then, I suppose we shall see. He nods, and as a train you begin to set out.
I would talk to Grimwolf on the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so as we're traveling, at some point, if we're stopped or as we're walking, Carthis would allow one of the hunters to handle the bridle and everything for the horse and to help guide it. And I must say, I've seen a fair bit of brave men in my time, but not many men would charge a witch with little more than a dagger.
Well, could be just I'm foolish, but I'd like to say that it was a chivalrous act, but in the end, if she would have burned through you, she was burning through me regardless.
Of that, perhaps you're right. Walks alongside Grimwolf. I know that you mean to get some coinage and goods back to some family of yours, but if you were looking for a group to travel with, potential to earn coin, I wouldn't deny you the opportunity if you stayed with us. I don't know. I think I'm going to put together some men. Try to do the right thing. Bring a little bit of decency into this world. We won't be making the greatest amount of coin, but I wouldn't deny you the opportunity to earn your fair share and keep if you stayed with me. There's safety in numbers. What would you say?
I think that might be an excellent idea. Best case scenario, I could get a few contracts. I mean, At least until I am needed back at the home. It could come abruptly. I am noble, so they might need me. I can't be gallivanting off too long.
Of course. You need not swear any fealty to me. This is, well, committing to a cause for as long as you're able. If you have your family draw you away, we'll just have to make do without your courage. But I would welcome your sword arm, and your mind as well.
Yes, well, I would welcome your sword arm as well. Things get hairy, at least I know that there's one person next to me that could fight.
Well, hopefully at one point, if I have my way, all of them will know how to fight. He kind of looks back at the others. But I thank you. I won't let you down with where I take us, and there will be chances for you to earn your keep.
Well, there always is. Whenever there's strife, there's always some coin to be made. Just got to find the right spot to provide and earn, so to speak.
Carthis nods. We will speak more on things when I have a clearer mind, trying to figure out how to approach this situation with the priestess.
That is no smart feat.
That is putting it mildly, friend. He pats him on the shoulder and then motions for Raj or John, whoever it was that was holding the reins, to let him do so again.
You begin to travel through the night towards the temple. Dryden is at least an hour or maybe more ahead of you. He arrives with the first light at the temple. He looks for someone to speak to. There are some parishioners about, but they tell him that they will wake the lady or get her when she is not indisposed. It takes quite a long time for anyone to greet him, but eventually he is greeted, but not by Aaron, but from Inland, her acolyte. She walks towards Dryden and gives a deep bow. "Oh yes, Master Dryden. How was your travels? How was your task?"
And Dryden, as he's approaching, he dismounts from the horse, and he's kind of handed it off already. Walked in there, just kind of getting the travel off of him. Stretches just a little bit as Inland walks up. The task was no issue, but I do need to see the Lady Erin. I have completed what she has asked for. I have brought back what she seeks. Now I need to give it to her. Can you tell me where she is?
Oh, she's in her personal quarters. She's receiving. There were two visitors, well, more than two, but several that came in the night to speak to her. She bites her bottom lip.
Well, I will be in my chambers. You send her to me as soon as she is ready. I will have her amulet. Let her know I am back.
Of course. And she nods and scurries off the way she came.
And Dryden, he reaches in, grasps the amulet, just to ensure once again that it is there on the inside pocket, and make sure that it's secure, and heads to his chambers to clean up and freshen up a little bit.
You reach into your pocket, and the amulet is indeed there. It hasn't moved from where you placed it. As you turn, you catch the sun at an awkward light, and you see your shadow play off the wall. Strangely, it seems to move quite quickly, as if it curls about and moves. And then suddenly it's back to normal. You're not sure if it's a trick of the eye or something more.
So Dryden will stop and kind of just turn, look in this kind of temple area where the light's coming through, do a slow circle and just look around the room. He'll just look around the room and grab for the amulet on his chest as he's looking around, hand on the hilt of his sword. And not noticing anything, he'll start heading off to his chambers.
Yeah, your amulet does not vibrate, and there's no one. Well, there's a couple of parishioners that walk by, but you don't see anything strange after that quick moment. You head back to your chambers, and you're able to take a wash basin and clean yourself, and you are thinking it has taken quite a bit of time. And in that time period, the others arrive. They find the temple very similar to as Dryden found it, with no one really about. Fallenstein is, at this point, wincing in pain and pale as a ghost.
Carthis is gonna help him down. And Carthis will start bothering any parishioners that are out and about that don't seem to be doing anything, looking to see if there's... Pardon, do you know where the healers are? We're gonna put them. And he might know where it was from his time here, but...
One of them... in the temple. And they would lead you to the inner sanctum of the temple. While they don't pay Fallenstein any mind, as if they don't recognize him at all. At near the same time, Dryden, there's a knock on the door.
And he gets up and makes his way over to the door, pulls it open.
It is Enlyn again. She bows. Dryden, Master Dryden, my mistress wished that you would meet in the temple. It seems that your friends have returned as well. She wanted to congratulate you all, and there's a visitor here that she wishes to introduce to you and the others.
And Dryden just nods to her, gives her a curt nod. He grabs his cloak, slings it over his shoulders, and then pulls the door closed as he heads out to the temple.
She nods and walks very quickly before you, almost running back towards the temple as she appears to be in quite a hurry. Give me a second to do what I need to do right here. Just 2 seconds. As you approach the temple, Dryden, you see Sir Carthis, Grimwolf, Endry, and the old man kind of hobbling along approach the temple as well.
And as Dryden walks in and sees Sir Carthis, he catches his eye and gives him a nod and just acknowledges him by just saying, "Knight," and looks at the others, looks over at Enlyn, and he just starts looking around the room. He sees the old man standing there, but pays no attention to him. He's looking around the room to see if Aaron is around.
Yeah, if you approach the temple, you see a Let me just get you to the right spot here so I don't have to. You enter the temple, and you see quite a conglomeration of people standing up on the dais. Sir Carthis, will you give me like a boy? Let's see. Give me a. Let me switch to your skills. Go ahead and give me deduction. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't recognize any of these fellows, although you are quite aware of one of the guys is wearing a high-necked shirt with ornate pins at the top. He has jet black hair, his shirt is black, his pants are black, his boot is black. He wears a rapier on his side. And there's another man who wears blues and clearly has the sigil of Verdun on his chest.
Carthis will grimace a bit. And nobility, make sure we're trying to keep proper etiquette, lads, and just talks with everybody who's nearby him.
Endry nods, meeting beside Carthis.
As you get closer, Aaron looks up and comes in your direction. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, Dryden. Inland told me. I am so thankful.
And Dryden, just with a quick step, almost looks like he's rushing up to her, walks quickly up to her, and as she's walking towards him, he, for a moment, awkwardly leans in as if to pull her close, but then realizes where he is and everyone around, and immediately gets control of himself and just stops where he is, looks at her, and then looks down at the ground. Yes, Erin. Everything you told us was true. We went out there. The man was there. The amulet, well, he did not have it. He said it was taken from him, but we were able to track it down. We were able to take it from whoever took it from him. And he gives a half glance over his shoulder, and for some reason the others have brought him back here. There was a small child there, baby, other men. They have all died. It looks like he is the only one left. I do not see the child. But in any case, what you have sent me for, I have.
Wonderful. May I have it, please?
And Dryden looks around at the others and looks at her to make sure that, this is the appropriate place to go ahead and do this. But he looks into her eyes, and just the fact that she's asking for it, he reaches into his cloak and pulls the amulet out, and he pulls it out of his cloak and lets it kind of release from his hands, holding onto the chain, and the amulet portion just kind of drops with a tink as he holds onto the chain and holds it out to her.
She smiles, reaches out, lets the amulet rest in her palm, and she slowly wraps her fingers around it, the chain falling through her fingertips as she pulls it away slowly. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Rich, can you help me? And the man comes over. Of course, Aaron. And she hands him the amulet, and he reaches around her neck, putting his forearms on her shoulder, drawing the chain around her neck, and fixes it there, and smiles and steps back. Thank you, she says. Oh, it feels wonderful to have this back. Thank you, Dryden.
Yes, yes, of course, Erin. Anything that you need, you tell me.
Oh, yes. Well, let me introduce you to our new friends. And she looks over her shoulder, and the two men step forward. This is Justicar Talfort of the King's Justice. And this is Vimir ap van Uslen of Nilfgaard. The Nilfgaardian clicks his heels together and bows, while the Justicar looks at Dryden appraisingly. He steps forward. Yes, you see why we're here. We're looking for someone who had been reported in the company of a witcher not so long back.
And Dryden, he doesn't follow any kind of formal greeting. He doesn't put a hand out. He doesn't bow. He doesn't even nod. He looks at the two men and looks back at Aaron. And then the Justicar. Well, you are in luck. I am a witcher, and I have plenty of people in my company. Is there someone here you are looking for?
He looks around the room. I don't think so. Described to me as fair-complected woman, long red curly hair, named Oria Gall. Senior Justicar is looking for her. It appears that she had betrayed him, made some of his men sick with her poultices, killed a lot of people in the village of Orion. Do you know her?
I do. She healed me when I was burnt. I have spent some time with her. I do not believe that what you are telling me is true, though. I don't think she killed many men. I don't know that she could kill any man.
Yes, well, I wonder, Witcher. You're the company of the cat, aren't you? I have heard you help chase down fugitives of the law. From time to time, your kind.
From time to time, yes, I do.
Well then, Aria Gall, how much would it be for you to track her down? You don't have to kill her, just bring her to justice.
And Dryden, he looks back at Aaron again and looks at the other men. Looks back at the Justicar. He rests his hand on the pommel of his sword. I will never hunt Irie down. As I told you, I owe her. I owe her a great bit. There is nothing that you could tell me or offer me that would cause me to go out there into that world and hunt her down for you. If I look for her, it would be to help her, not to help you.
The Justicar looks to say something, but Aaron steps forward and puts a hand on Dryden's shoulder. Dryden, be still, be still. I know that you might find this woman, I'm not exactly sure, actually, but they're offering a sizable donation to the temple as well as any fee that you might receive for your help.
It is for you? For the temple?
Well, they did promise to donate some to the temple. And we could use any donation we could get. That apostate there took many of our congregation and their tithes, their alms to give, and people to help in these parts.
Erin. And Dryden looks her in the eyes. The woman that they want me to find is a good woman. She is not bad. She is not a criminal. She is a good and honest woman. A healer. Someone who wants to help, just like you.
Well, I mean, I understand that, and I believe you, Dryden. But, I mean, you are not the best judge of character, she whispers. These men are from the king, at least the Justicar. Do you think that she could have done some of these things and you just didn't know about them?
I guess anyone is capable of doing anything that I don't believe they are capable of. What I believe in people and what I see in people is not determination for how they act in the things they do. I believe in you, and I believe you are good. What you are saying here is that you are also capable of being evil and doing bad things. If my judging character is flawed, and he looks down, that would extend to you, Erin. And I refuse to believe that.
Her mouth drops, her chin almost to her chest. Well, yes, I suppose that is true. I hadn't thought of it that way. I'm sorry, Dryden. If she is that important to you, then I will not ask you to do this thing.
And Dryden looks back up at her, looks her in the eye. She is someone that I would consider a friend, and not someone I am going to hunt. Not even for you, Erin.
Of course, I would not ask you to do something that you felt so strongly against. Of course. She looks over his shoulder at the Justicar is standing there with his arms over his chest, looking rather disappointed. Oh, well,
Dryden looks over at the Justicar. Did you hear that? I am not going to hunt her. Not for you.
I heard it, mutant.
And Dryden just looks at Aaron. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, Dryden. We'll find another way. So, she looks over Dryden's shoulder. Why are you all hiding back there? And she sees Fallenstein. Well. And he is very, very heavily leaning against you, Sir Carthis. He might not even really know what's going on. He might not even be conscious. Not really. He just staggers along with you.
And he looks around the procession and then looks at Aaron. Well, ma'am, we have a man who is in need of medical treatment. My understanding is that your temple can provide such services.
Yes, for those that deserve it and that bathe in the light of the sun. not an apostate who has stolen from this same temple.
I have heard many different stories on that account, my lady. Again, I intend to play no part in it. But what I do hear is that you be motivated by coin, if nothing else.
I am motivated to generate wealth and therefore to give it away to those that need it.
Well, first I would ask you to do it out of the decency of you and your god. This man has suffered quite a bit. You might say he is an apostate, claim what you wish, as he and some others claim the very same of you. Again, I intend to take no sides in this dispute, but you said you would aid me if I aided you. I have aided you, as Dryden can attest. I would ask that you pay me back by saving this man's life.
That's what you want? To save this wretched fool's life?
It would be my ask, yes. That is what I wish for you to do.
And Dryden, when he says that, he looks at Aaron. I care not for the heretic. He is of no concern to me. But the knight did follow through with what he said he would. He put his life on the line, just as I and all the others. He is able to ask this of you. If this is his payment, then it would be fair of you to follow through with it for him, in the position he put himself in for you, so that we could retrieve the amulet.
Dryden, he did it for coin, but fine. If this is what you wish, it will save us some coin that we desperately need now. Inland, practice your skills on this old fool. Take him over there. And she nods to this area over here. Take him over there. Lay him down. Apply the salve.
Carthis helps Inland get Fallenstein to the table.
You take Fallenstein over to the table, and Inland begins to work on him. She cuts off his pant leg, and I'll be right back. And she runs off with one of the parishioners to get some supplies and whatnot, and eventually they begin treating him in the corner. There's not really much for you to do. You see that she is carefully cutting away some diseased flesh, packing it with some what essentially looks like a bunch of goop, like oatmeal. And she begins eventually wrapping it, as everybody kind of is just staring in that direction as it's happening. This man steps forward, Nilfgaardian. Now, Ghost, it's my understanding that your armor is a fairly typical Nilfgaardian armor, except it has the crest removed. Is that right?
Yes, Chris. He did scrape off the crest because he knows that he knows that Nilfgaard is not well appreciated in the north.
Yeah.
And people would make that distinction, so he tried to remove it as best he could. Obviously, There's not much to do with that. But,
yeah.
And of course, scorch marks from the burn.
Yeah. Vimir is a very courtly fellow, it seems. You are Nilfgaardian, then. It is not often we see a Nilfgaardian in the north.
No, my lord, I'm sure not. He nods.
Well, I am Vimir ap van Oslen. And you are?
Sir Carthis Van Carden.
Ah, well met. He extends a hand.
Carthis would extend a hand in return.
He shakes your hand. I am sent here on special assignment, not unlike our Justicar fellow, to find someone. This one is no woman, but quite a foul man. He is... Oh, his name is Aurelius. He is deformed, his face. Have you met such a man? Anyone here, for that matter? I have reason to believe that he was traveling with a man that might fit your description, sir.
I do not deny it. I traveled with the man for a time.
Ah, can you tell me where he was last seen? By you, of course. I do appreciate any help you can give.
Well, last that I recall, his intent was to go north. He did not tell much to me. We had a previous history.
Oh, I see. Well, he is a traitor to Nilfgaard, and when we find him, he will be crucified. And anyone that can give us information that leads to his capture will be paid handsomely. So I do thank you, sir. Where did you last see him? You said he was heading north, but where were you exactly? Do you know exactly where he was going?
I am afraid not. The man's motives were a mystery. He only traveled with us for a time because of circumstances. We, as I said, didn't have the best previous history. Competition over lovers, unfortunately.
Well, that is a problem sometimes. And he gives a sidelong glance kind of over to Dryden and takes a step back. Well, I thank you for your help.
Of course, my lord. He nods and turns to return to his group.
And anything Endry and Grimwolf want to do?
Endry is going to mostly be looking over to inland, treating Valentine, occasionally glancing to Sir Carthis. He kind of eventually makes his way over towards inland, more to watch a bit more closely what she's doing.
Yeah, as you head over, she is packing the wound, and she looks over. Oh, Endry, hi. I'm sorry. This is not really the most glamorous work. She lifts up her hands, and they're full, covered in gunk. Just hopefully this will push the infection out, and he'll keep his leg and his life. We don't want the blood to be poisoned, or he would certainly succumb to that and die within days, if he was lucky.
Oh, I've never really seen anything like that. Did you learn that from Priestess Erin?
Oh, yes, mostly. But I had some training from a midwife and other healers before, but it was all in preparation for this glorious day that I would come here and finally become an initiate of the sun.
Oh, and he moves closer, looking down at her hands, looking down at the wound. It's pretty cool.
Yes, cool.
He looks over at Inland and smiles. I'm not sure exactly how long we're staying here. But if you still want to do that lesson, probably after this.
Can you give me an awareness roll, Endry?
Is that under int? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I'll whisper something to you. Hold on. Doc whispered to me.
Endry looks at Inland and squints a bit. Are you feeling okay? You're a bit red.
Oh, nothing. I will make sure once he is prepared to seek you out. Perhaps tonight after we sup. I'm sure you would want one last meal before at least leaving on the morrow.
Oh yeah, of course. Are you sure you're all right? Are you getting a fever?
No, I'm fine. I'm just busy. I'll come. I'll see you at dinner.
Of course. He looks to Fallenstein, back to Inland. I'll see you when we sup. Nod at her and head back to Sir Carthis.
She nods and turns around and sticks her head straight down, basically looking at the floor. So as you're all standing around, the Justicar waves to Aaron, "A word, priestess," and they walk off. She nods to Dryden, like giving him a reassuring look as they walk off and talk quietly. At this point, this fellow, Rich, who you really don't know very well, walks forward and says, "Will you be staying the night then? I will have others prepare the guest rooms again."
And Dryden looks at him and just nods. I will.
He nods to Dryden. "And you, Sir Carthis, Grimwolf?"
Yes, me and mine intend to stay the eve for certain of the night. Hopefully he will recover by then, and perhaps we'll take him away as well.
That would be wise. Mistress Erin is not fond of him.
And Dryden walks up to the man in black there, Vemir, and says to him, "You said there was a reward for anyone, information leading to the capture of the deformed mage. Is that correct?"
Yes, Richard, that is correct. I would hire you for his capture, but I'm not sure I have much coin on me currently, if that is what you're looking for.
I want nothing to do with him or hunting him down. He went to Sidaris. That is exactly where he said he was going. If that leads to his capture, and there is a reward, you give it to Erin here at the temple.
Wonderful. A wonderful idea. I will do that. Thank you, Master Witcher.
And he just nods and turns back and looks at Erin and the Justicar.
Yeah, you're unsure what they're talking about. They seem to be maybe even arguing. And Rich looks to Grimwolf. "What about you? Are you staying?"
Yes, it'd be mighty good to have a roof over their head tonight.
Fine. I hope this is your last day here. This temple is not accustomed to keeping so many under its roof, especially those that do not need alms. And plus, Erin needs her peace and quiet. She is busy.
Dryden looks at him. Those are odd words to level at a group of people who have helped Erin, as she requested, who have put their lives on the line to help Erin more than once. To say you hope that we leave soon, well, that shows the kind of man you are. And he turns back to look at Erin and the Justicar.
The kind of man I am? I don't know what that means. These are
Of course you don't.
These are Aaron's wishes, not mine.
You are saying it is Erin's wishes that we all leave.
Yes.
This is what you are saying.
You have been paid.
Dryden just kind of brushes past him and shoulder checks him as he walks by and walks straight to Erin.
Aaron turns over her shoulder. Dryden. Yes, I was having a conversation. What can I do for you?
The funny man back there, he says that it is your wish that we all leave. Is that correct?
Oh, well, not in so many words, Dryden, but if we keep pulling the stores for more food and whatnot, we won't have any left for the parishioners. It is not that I want you to leave, it is only that, well, I was hoping for that coin, and now we won't get it.
And Dryden looks at her in somewhat disbelief and looks over at the Justicar. How much to find the girl?
Oh, you're going to take me up on my offer, then?
How much to find the girl?
Oh, 500 for you? I'll make my deal with Aaron separately.
2,000 for me to hunt a friend.
That is quite a bold sum you ask for, Witcher.
Yes, well, I'm a witcher who hunts men, who knows his quarry. Do you want that kind of skill, or do you want to ask Erin to go look for her?
Very well. 2,000.
I want 1,000 up front.
It will take me a day or so to secure it. I will have to leave and go to the neighboring town.
Well, you are in luck. We are going to be staying the night here. There is one day. You should get moving.
He looks to Erin and frowns. She looks between the two of you and he says, very well. I'll be here tomorrow by noon.
I would be waiting. And he looks to Erin. I make my leave, Erin. I will be in my chambers if you need anything.
She looks at you. Oh, all right, Dryden.
And Dryden just turns around and starts walking away. As he walks away, he just makes sure to shoulder check this guy one last time. He looks at Sir Carthis and nods, and then just makes his way off to his chambers.
Just a question, I'm guessing. Did we hear all that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could have heard it all. They weren't trying to be quiet from anything I could tell.
Yeah, as Dryden pass, Endry just gives him a look of disgust.
Well, business is business.
It's not a business!
There are many businesses. Some less desirable than others.
I don't condone it, but between me and you, lad, and as Sir Carthis will try to be quiet, as he says it, whispering to Endry. I don't think Dryden will do it.
And Andrew's face sours, wrinkles his nose. He was fine with letting a child die. There's not much that I doubt the Witcher won't do, Sir Carthis. I hope you forgive me in saying this.
And I hope you'll forgive me in my retort, Endry. He looks over at Dryden as he walks away. Witches may seem almost as bad as the monsters they hunt at times. I will say that I would not have a tavern drink with Dryden. But somewhere within that uncaring gaze, within that stern face, there is a measure of decency. There's still a man in there. He's still searching for it just as much as anyone else would with the Witcher. He says a lot of things, perhaps means a fair bit of them as well, but I think when it truly comes down to it, there is a decent soul in there. He just has to find it.
Endry looks over to Aaron. Maybe, but the manipulations of a woman, it seems, might be using said soul to her advantage.
Manipulations, looks at Endry. Fancy words for a boy from the woods. He kind of pats him on the heads and this. You'll find that their temptations can be quite powerful, but he is a Witcher through and through. I think one day he will discover precisely what she is.
Endry nods. Well, I also learned enough words when we were with the others.
That's true. It's the same. Vocabulary was never my strong suit, but nonetheless, there's much more to learn and much more to be taught. We should keep an eye on old Fallenstein, make sure nothing goes awry, but we should also get some rest.
Fine. But I still don't trust her.
Then you're a smart lad. But we're going to be here one more night. We should be safe about it. Should get some sleep soon. But I intend to look over Sir good old Fallenstein for a moment to make sure he does all right.
Endry nods and falls back, just crossing his arm, watching the room, mostly glaring at Aaron.
There is a... it takes a few... probably a half an hour, and people are milling about doing what they're going to do, departing from the temple. Carthis is looking over Fallenstein. Dryden stalks off to his room. Others are doing whatever they're going to do. And eventually Inland comes up to Endry and asks, are you ready for she scratches the back of her head, your lesson?
Endry uncrosses his arms, takes his eyes away from Aaron, and he looks over to Inland and smiles. Yeah, I'd like that.
She smiles. Okay, over here, and this is a small study, she says, and leaves Fallenstein there, gives a quick curtsy to Sir Carthis, and walks on in here. She pulls the door closed behind you. And she's like, Yes, there's, scrolls. Oh, heavens. I am... Oh, Endry has no light?
Yeah, I only see like basically what Dryden sees.
Hmm? Really?
I don't have. Oh no, I see someone, some sort of angle into this room, but
You only see what
fine.
Dryden sees?
Oh, maybe Grimwolf. I don't know. Someone.
Oh.
I only
Let me
see
see. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see.
this. It's
Okay,
okay.
hold on 1 second. Let me fix that. I don't know what's going on, but my machine is like crawling through this whole thing.
Yeah,
Mine was too. It's good now.
something's running.
I turned off the animations.
Mine's running fine now.
I don't
Yeah,
understand
picked
why
up.
you can't see him.
Oh.
Let me make sure your token is linked correctly. Just give me a second. Let's just take 5 minutes while I look at this.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No.
I'm sorry.
No. Oh, well, yeah, that's why. Okay.
How dare you not be able to see?
I can see.
Well, I figured it out pretty easy.
Thank you.
Okay, give me a second. Let's just take 5 minutes.
I shall return shortly.
I'm gonna see what else I can turn off in here to. Oh, I know what it is. I got all these damn candles going. I bet that's what it is.
Oh no.
Overdoing it. Okay, hold on.
I turned off. I basically switched back to Camtasia specifically for this. I changed my settings in Google, so it's like not taxing my machine anymore.
Oh, you mean you re-engage the one that shares with the GP?
Yeah, and like everything's running very smoothly for me now. Before it was just like chugging along, probably like your.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Curse of OBS.
Yeah, that's why it's Camtasia for Witcher.
Because of the lighting stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, all the gifts and everything.
Yeah, I've turned off all that man. Oh yeah, now I'm already running better.
Yeah.
I've got rid of all the candles, so I'm running a lot smoother now. I'm gonna reboot my browser and then I should be good.
That's what was causing my crashing during Bo's games because it was all running through CPU.
Yeah, and then I didn't tell you to turn off that the hardware.
Yeah, well, you had to turn off the hardware to get the OBS to work, right?
Yeah. So my hardware is back enabled because man, it was chugging before, and I'm like,
No, yeah, this is much better. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Overdid it.
Yeah, because I think it even happens even if you pause the animation on there, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just deleted the candles instead. I just said screw it and just deleted them. They're fun and all, but not that necessary. Not necessary at all, in fact.
But the ambiance.
That's much better.
Yeah. It's quiet. Too quiet.
What's happening?
It's Ralph. A little too Ralph.
I hear things now.
Oh man,
I'm scared.
it's the voices.
Dryden's in his room meditating.
Quote unquote meditating, thinking
Go
about
away.
Aaron.
Go away, Baton.
I don't know. He doesn't seem too happy with Aaron right now.
Angry baiting. I feel like Dryden's the master of half-finished jobs.
Because of the Carnifex job.
The Carnifex job, yep. Takes some
I think
money
it's
and-
hilarious that Rothmere took all that money off Nicholas. He's like, yeah, I didn't find anything. And then the last session, he's asking the guy, he's like, so if you did hold my money, where would you put it? And the guy tells him, and then he goes out and gets drunk and starts digging holes where he would bury it.
Oh my god.
Dryden knows he took it too, because he knows
Yeah, you probably.
how much money he had.
Yeah. Alright, is everybody back? I don't know if Ghost is back yet. Not yet.
Playing with bags.
Dig.
Bags.
Doogles.
Let's just get started. He's not in this conversation anyway, so. Inland shuts the door behind you and. Oh, I'm supposed to, well. I'm sorry, Endry. This is just very awkward.
That's alright. And he sits down and puts his hands on his lap. I don't mind.
You see, well, the priestess has several husbands and she wanted me to take one, a husband.
And Endry pauses and looks slightly confused. Why? But you're my age, right?
Yeah, I'm 13 summers.
I mean, do you want a husband?
She just kind of shrugs. That is what she says that our holy book specifies for us to do, to take husbands. For the glory of the sun goddess, this is something that was never taught to me. When I was a young lady, my parents were followers of the sun.
That, I'm not the most, well versed in, your religion at all. Maybe there's different versions?
Maybe. I don't know. I read the holy book that we have here, and it is the same that I had at home. But this is new.
And Endry kind of gets up and... I don't want to, throw any or put any, thoughts into your head about, Priestess Aaron. I'm very sure that, Sir Carthis would be frustrated at me for doing so. But, Fallenstein, he said that, Aaron was the heretic, that she forced him out.
Oh, well, That is not what she told. Well, she didn't tell me much at all, actually. I was wondering, Endry. I don't think I want a husband. I don't even. I was wondering if you could take me with you.
Well, if you want to come with us, I'm sure Sir Carthis would be most pleased to have someone who can heal wounds like that with us. If you don't want to follow this, I'm sure the priestess would let you come with us.
That would be just wonderful. And she reaches out and gives you a quick kiss on the cheek. I'm going to start packing my things. I'll look after Fallenstein, and then in the morning I'll ride out with you. I'll have my bags packed.
Endry blushes a bit at the kiss, and he nods a bit enthusiastically. Yeah, just make sure to grab everything. I'll let Sir Carthis know.
Okay, I'll tell the priestess. It's the right thing to do.
Of course. Just don't mention the whole all the heretic stuff.
Oh,
I'm sure she'd be frustrated.
No. I will tell her that this life doesn't seem like it's for me, and that I will head out with you and head back towards the Vinewood eventually, and it should be fine. It should be fine.
Of course. And Endry smiles and nods. If you need, we can tell the priestess together, or if you need help packing.
Oh, no, I should do it. I should do it. My father would be proud of me. It takes courage to admit a mistake that you've done and see it head on, as he would say.
Well, I look forward to traveling with you again inland.
Tomorrow. And
Endry takes a step back from the door and lets Inland leave.
yeah, she hustles out pretty quickly, looking very happy. She walks over and begins to work on Fallenstein. At that point, I would assume that everybody's in there, not probably here, but gathering for the feast. And I will put you guys out there. Would Dryden even attend, Doc, or not?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
he still eats and everything.
Yep,
So.
okay. Alright, give me a sec. Should have done this while we were waiting. Okay. So once again, you find yourselves waiting to be seated for dinner, with the doors closed as the parishioners and other people are preparing it, leaving you outside to speak to one another. What you have been doing over these last few hours is completely up to you. You can...
Yeah, Dryden had been in his chambers, and like I said before, he had been meditating. He had been sitting in a trance-like state, getting rest without actually having to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Grimwolf would have taken the time while picking his nails to just watch people watch.
And at some point, probably quickly after their conversation, Endry would approach Sir Carthis very excitedly. Sir Carthis, I have news.
Yes, boy, what's going on?
Inland, she doesn't want to, apparently be here anymore. Apparently the priestess wants her to take a number of husbands. or something along those lines. But she wants to come with us. I was sure that you would be all right with it.
And Carthis puts his hand on his forehead. And, boy, what did you say?
Well, I said that we probably could use her skills in healing. I mean, she's healing Wallenstein. She said she'd talk to the priestess.
Carthis shakes his head. Things rarely go the way that they seem, boy. Is that all you said?
Andrea pauses and thinks for a moment. I think so. She said she'd go and pack after she'd finished with Fallenstein, and that she'd talk to Aaron afterwards, saying that she didn't want to live this life anymore.
Carthis shakes his head. I doubt that Aaron is going to be as enthusiastic as you are when she finds out we're taking one of her followers away from her. That will be her perspective on the matter. I believe you when you say it's all that you said, boy. I've taught you honesty is one of the most important virtues. What were you about to say, boy?
I mean, she can't really stop inland from leaving, can she?
Well, the girl did make a commitment. Puts Aaron in certain difficult positions. I should think that any reasonable person would allow her to change her mind, of course not without upset, but it's not as if inland is her property. She is her own woman. That said, we've seen that Aaron may not be the most amenable of sorts.
Should I... Maybe I should go see if she's okay. And he kind of turns around.
And he grabs Endry. I will go speak with Aaron.
Alright. I'm sorry if I put us in any dire straits.
You were only trying to do what was right, boy. You maybe perhaps should not have encouraged her, but at the same time, if she was of a mind to leave anyway, it's true she would be useful, helpful.
She did say that apparently in the scriptures, the one that Aaron has mentioned is new about taking multiple husbands. It's not something that she read anywhere before. Maybe someone should tell Dryden. Maybe. He seems very dedicated to the priestess. Is he one of the husbands?
I don't think that witchers marry, lad. Last I remember Endry, they travel their entire lives, but no, I don't think so. At least it doesn't seem that way between the two of them.
Oh, okay.
But I'll speak with Aaron. I will have that conversation. You need not worry about it. What you did, you thought was right to do. That is all we can ask. Just be careful. Sometimes you don't understand these things as well as you should. Nonetheless, I'll talk with you.
And Endry nods. All right.
And as everyone is walking up to the dinner hall, whatever you would call it, doors creak open, and you see that there's quite a few people already inside. One second. And there's some parishioners outside walking in. You see the Nilfgaardian contingent walking up as well. One thing you're aware of quite quickly is Enlin is secured to the inn seat with two parishioners standing next to them. Aaron puts a hand up as Dryden enters, and she says, "Ah, welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, supper is being delayed. This won't take long, but I wished everyone to see." Enlin looks up at Endry, horror on her face.
And Endry is going to take a few steps forward. Are you okay?
She... And one of the parishioners grabs her by the back of the neck, pushes her face down onto the table, and she squeals, "Ah!" And Aaron frowns. "Be quiet. You see, I do not know if Enlin was set astray by this boy, or if she was a bad apple at the beginning. But once an acolyte of the sun gives themselves over to the holy priesthood, they may never, never leave."
Sir Carthis would step forward. "And is that written in the new scriptures or the old, my lady?"
She raises an eyebrow. "There is but one scripture, Sir Carthis, that matters."
And that's the one that makes sure all of your commands are followed, isn't it?
Excuse me?
Is that guy still holding Inland's head down at the table?
He released it after she stopped speaking, but he's still hovering over her for sure.
My words carry quite well in this chamber, I'm afraid, so I know that you did hear me. And if your man roughs the girl again, I will remove his hand. So, I would ask you, again, this scripture, it's the one that makes sure your commands are followed, isn't it?
It is the scripture of our goddess. There is nothing that I do that does not come from her divine right.
So then she was the one that asked you to write new scriptures?
I did not write new scriptures. Who told you such a thing? The apostate?
Inland didn't recognize your scriptures.
She looks past Dryden at the boy. Well, you have your payment. Wallenstein is healed. That is what you wished. Grimwolf, we saved this man's life. Free of charge. I will give him the coin as well. You should all leave. This is none of your business.
And Carthis puts a shoulder on Endry, or puts a hand on Endry's shoulder. What do you intend to do with the girl, then?
She'll be punished.
In what fashion?
I haven't decided yet. These scriptures leave it up to my discretion.
Ah, naturally then. And Carthis will whisper to Endry.
Yeah, you see this guy kind of walk over this way. Please stop yourself there, Grimwolf. No reason to get any closer.
Yeah.
Endry, Go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted a closer look at what's going on.
You have eyes and they can see far. Please stay back.
And Dryden looks at Aaron. And he just looks at her for just a moment. Aaron, I do not understand. The temple has changed. It has been a long time since I have been here, but I don't remember you forcing young women to do your bidding such as this.
She looks and frowns at you. Dryden, you wouldn't understand. This is religious business.
You're correct. I do not understand your religion or anyone else's religion. But I do know the eyes of fear in a child. That girl is scared.
As she should be. She is about to be punished for her sins.
What sins has she committed? She has helped heal a man at the request of other men who have helped you, who have helped keep you alive.
Dryden. She wanted to leave the faith. It is forbidden.
And that is... But why?
Because the goddess demands it. We are not to ask why, but to believe on faith. If the gods command, we must follow. And our God commands such sacrifice.
And what if another god commands that there is not to be one?
All other gods hold no sway here in this temple.
But I don't belong to this temple. Neither does my man here, or my other men. So, if I were to say that I wouldn't allow you to do this to this child, to hold her captive, to abuse her, perhaps even murder her depending on the validity of your faith, what would you do? What could you do, I should say?
She looks at Sir Carthis. Well, we certainly cannot defend ourselves against a knight and his cutthroat, who we saved from drowning and dying afterwards, I might add.
When I live, maybe to be paying the kind someday to somebody else.
What would you do? Would you cut us down, knight?
I'm no murderer, but I would make sure you all lived. I cannot guarantee you might keep all your limbs if you intend to do harm to an innocent.
And at his threat to Aaron, Dryden turns around and faces Sir Carthis with Aaron behind him. And he just stands there facing the knight.
She puts her hand on Dryden's shoulder and says, "After all, maybe we can defend ourselves."
A witcher who goes from hunting monsters to defending monsters, apparently.
You do not understand. I am no monster. I am simply the vessel of our God here.
And Carthis looks at Dryden. You're a man consumed by passion. I've been there. And what is worse, you don't understand it. But, Witcher, I pose this to you. If it were not this woman that you are so infatuated with, if that was perhaps some beast, I don't know, bog witch, I don't know what you've faced, what horrors you've seen. If that were a monster doing this to that poor girl, would you stand against me? Would you love a monster so that you would stand between my way? I intend no harm unless it is forced upon me to do so. I will not allow this woman to be hurt. I've bested a Witcher before with help. I have help. I intend no violence against you or your... whatever she is to you. But I will not let this girl be harmed. I will not do it.
And Dryden just looks at him and looks across the table over at Grimwolf. And I will not let her be harmed. And he motions back to Aaron. You can call her a monster. But she is not a monster. She was a good woman. Is a good woman. I don't understand her religion. But it is not for us to judge her based on her religion. No harm shall come to her. No harm shall take place in this place right now. And he turns around and looks to Aaron. I don't understand what is going on here, what your religion is. But there is no need for anyone to suffer. Not even the little one. And he moves past Aaron and puts his hand out to reach for Inland's hand.
Yeah, you see that her hands are secured behind her back around the chair. This guy immediately gets...
she's tied
Yeah,
to the
she's
chair?
tied, yes.
Oh, and Dryden immediately just walks up and pulls his sword out and cuts the ropes. Goes to cut the ropes.
Yeah, this guy gets out of dodge. He's not going to stand in your way. Aaron just
Yeah.
frowns.
He just gives the guy a look and cuts the ropes and helps her stand up out of the chair.
Thank you.
And he looks down at the girl. Run to the knight. Go to him.
She bolts towards you, Sir Carthis. Gives you jumps into your arms, more or less.
And Dryden turns back to Aaron. I am sure your religion can suffer the loss of one little girl. If it can't, well, it does not say much for your religion. I am sorry, Aaron.
It is what it is, I suppose, as they say. It is unfortunate.
And it is something that has to happen. It is something that needed to be done. I am working on something to give you the arms and the coins that your temple needs for its continued operations here.
Yes.
He will be back tomorrow, and you shall have your gold.
I'm sorry, Dryden, it does not work that way. She steps around you, pulls out this chair and sits down, facing the other end. And she is lost somehow. Hold on. You should be you're in the wrong layer. There we go. She sits down and... Well, Rich, it is time. The sun goddess requires penance, and I shall pay it then. If she will not, I must. She looks up to Dryden. I will ask you this one favor. Whatever happens, you must not strike out. You must not be angry at me.
I am never going to be angry with you, Aaron. I might be confused. I might not understand your choices. But anger is not a feeling that you shall ever experience coming from me. Not towards you.
Thank you. Rich walks over. He has something wrapped in a small cloth, and he sits it in front of Aaron, on the table. She looks down at it. Well, it is time. Everyone seems to think I am some sort of villain, that I have written scriptures on my own. Well, it is not true. It is true that Fallenstein and my religions have differed now, and that he was the priest of this place, and is no longer, for he is the apostate. She pulls back the rag, and it's a curved or ornamental dagger. Now it is time for me to pay the penance that that girl deserves to pay. The gods demand it, and if I, the leader of this temple, cannot satisfy the gods, then I must pay the ultimate price of failure.
Dryden looks at her and looks at the dagger. What is it you plan on doing?
She takes a big deep breath. Giving my soul to the sun as punishment for my failures, which is bringing the darkness.
And Dryden looks down at her and looks her in the eye. And his face is soft and neutral. And he just reaches down and he grabs the dagger. He puts the blade down on the ground and bends down, and using his foot as leverage against the stone floor, snaps the blade off.
She simply frowns. Are you going to keep me locked up forever?
No, Erin. I'm not going to keep you locked up forever. You can do as you wish, but you're not going to do it while I watch. You're not going to do this while I stand here, looking at you, looking at your eyes, your lips. I want to be a party to this. I want to allow you to do this, not in my presence. If this is something that you want to do it without me being here. I will have no part of this. And he kicks the blade away from the table.
She looks to Dryden. Well, there's only one way to save my life now, Dryden. Either now or in the future. She looks to Enlin. One of us must bleed.
And Dryden looks over to Enlin and looks back at Aaron. You truly believe the only way you can continue worshipping your God is if one of you die?
It is as framed by our God. She has committed a sacrilege. If I, her priestess and superior, cannot give out punishment to justify or to satisfy the god, then it must be me, for I have failed.
And then Dryden looks over her at the man standing on the other side of her. What about him? Could you take his life as punishment? I am sure your God would accept that.
She looks to Dryden. No. He's my husband, and that is not permitted by our goddess.
And Dryden takes a step back. Your husband.
One of 3, actually. The other 2 are not here yet.
And Dryden turns to Endry and looks at Endry. Take Inlin, the girl. Make sure she leaves here safely. And he turns back to Aaron and he pulls his steel sword out.
Changed your mind,
What?
did you?
Was Endry going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Endry looks at Dryden, gives him a hard look, looking over to Aaron, and back to him. He just nods, taking Inland's hand and making his way out.
And as Inland starts making her way out with Endry, Dryden turns to walk around Aaron, and he faces this guy here and looks him in the eye. His eyes glowing yellow.
He immediately tries to run.
Yeah, and Dryden just says, "Run."
Yeah, these guys run no problem. They don't. Ah! Rich just watches you circle around. What are you going to do, Witcher? Kill me?
And Dryden brings his sword up as fast as he can to strike him down. Doesn't even respond to him.
Yeah, you cut him in twain. You just cut him asunder.
And just with lightning fast reflexes, brings his sword up and just cuts him from the neck down to the shoulder blade. Blood splattering to Aaron, hitting the table, the floor. And he just watches him fall down and backwards. And then he walks back around. My apologies to you and your husband, but I don't think we will be staying here any longer. I am sorry, Aaron. You are not the same woman I knew those years ago. I miss her, and I'm sorry she is gone.
She looks at you. I curse you. Every day you will watch behind your back, you will sleep not, you will meditate not, you will know no peace.
I have not known peace since the trial of grasses. I have not known peace in many, many years. This is not something new. Your curse means nothing other than the pain in my heart it causes knowing that it comes from you.
You will know more pain. I promise you. Worse than what you feel. If you can feel. You monster!
And Dryden looks at the ground and puts his head down and just turns his back and starts walking away from Aaron.
You monster! She screams.
And he looks at this guy standing
He's just
here.
looking dumbfounded. He just steps out of the way.
Yeah, and Dryden just walks by him with Aaron's words ringing in his ears. You monster, you monster. Something he's always felt and believed about himself, but coming from the one person that he thought he loved makes it more real.
Dryden strides out the door, leaving one single corpse and a furious woman. What are the rest of you doing?
Carthis would whisper for Inland to follow Endry, and then look to Grimwolf and nod for them to leave. And once they exit the door, if they're unchallenged, look at his men, go grab Fallenstein. We leave now. We won't wait till the morn. We'll pick up a few hours rest on the way. Better that we not stay here. I don't think we'll be welcome come the morning.
Grimwolf, before he leaves, look at the priestess. Priestess, from my experience, if one is truly committed, a broken knife is still sharp. And I'll walk away.
She watches Grimwolf walk, her hands digging into the table. Sir Carthis is still in the room, is that correct?
No,
okay, gotcha.
He would have gotten his men out. Told him to get Fallenstein. We're gonna be leaving, so I would try to find Dryden though, but before I'm assuming he's leaving.
Yeah, you guys are all kind of walking.
Endry had something.
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
Go ahead, Endry.
Oh, yeah, Andrew had been kind of waiting out there with Inland and seeing Dryden pass, probably hearing what went on, just not seeing it. He looks to Inland. Are you alright?
I'm a lot better now. She gives you a big hug. Thank you.
And Endry returns the hug. Yeah, of course. I wasn't gonna let anyone do that to you. It's not right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't know really what to say right now. This has all been very strange, and I just need some time away from this place. The sooner the better.
Of course. Just make sure to gather your things.
They're already packed.
Good. Let's go get them.
You two rush off to grab her stuff. Not much there, a couple sacks. Sir Carthis and Grimwolf catch up with Dryden while this is happening.
And Dryden was walking back to his room to start kind of gathering his things together when they catch up to him.
A word or a few, Witcher.
And Dryden just stops, doesn't turn around. Hearing Sir Carthis' voice, he just kind of stops and stands there in his tracks. Yes, knight.
I don't know if you care for me to say or not, but as a man of honor, I thought I should say it to you. I don't know why you struck the man down. I can't say I condone it, but I understand. That said, what she said to you is not true. You're not a monster. I know you probably don't believe that, but you're not a monster. I wish you good fortune in the days to come. I do hope to see you again.
And Dryden turns around. When he turns around, you can see his eyes are red. He's he's not crying, but you could see his eyes are red. And he looks at you. Am I not a monster? I cut that man down without even knowing him. Without even knowing if he was a good man or an evil man. He was a man, such as you or anyone else here. And I cut him down out of sheer anger and rage and hate. If that does not make me a monster, I don't know what would. Your words are kind, knight. Too kind for the likes of me. And he turns around again, starts walking back to his room.
The fact that you can feel anything at all, Witcher, proves my point. A monster feels nothing from what I hear. There's good in you. You will find it one day.
And Dryden looks over his shoulder, just kind of glances, like turns his head to the right as he's saying that. And he gives a short, almost imperceptible nod, as if he's just almost shaking his head yes, and turns around and heads back to his room.
As everyone is deciding their fates and preparing to leave immediately, Fallenstein is brought forward by the hunters. He looks much improved, leaning on his staff. He watches Dryden walk by and Sir Carthis approach. Well, it appears it has not went well from what John and Roger have told me.
No, I would say not. There was not much discussion, but quite a lot of violence. We'll have to leave immediately, I'm afraid.
He nods. Well, I can preach my scriptures on the road just as well as the temple. And perhaps I am the one that needs to change my beliefs for the good of people. There is a God out there. If she is the sun, I do not know. But you, Sir Carthis, you lead this band, and I call them... Shit. One second.
Shit.
Damn it!
I call them shit.
Shitters. Shitters.
Jitters. The best.
Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay. The Order of the Black Knight. His black armor is dark, but his heart radiates like the sun. I will follow you, sir. And the two Johns, tap their bows on the ground. Aye, aye! Where will you take us?
We go north. There's the girl. The one that was meant to be sacrificed. Her father lives there north. I would not take her into our care when she has a family and home. I'll bring her home first, and then it is up to her and her father to decide. Beyond that, we will go from place to place, see where we are needed.
Inland reaches out and puts a hand on Endry's shoulder, and then looks at you. Well, I found my home. Here, with you. It was my choice to come here, and it is my choice to leave. If we visit my father, so be it, but Not for a while, I think. If you will have me.
Mr. Carthis looks conflicted for a moment, but you're a grown woman. You may have your choice, of course. You may travel with us.
She smiles. Fallenstein looks at the Witcher as he disappears from view. He asks, "And what will he do?" And the camera pans to Dryden for the last bit of roleplay as you emote your feelings.
Dryden heads back to his room and starts gathering his things, rolling his sleeping sack, gathering whatever personal belongings he had sitting out. And as he's doing all of that, he's thinking back to the time when he first met Erin, when he saved her from the beast that scarred her face, and the happiness she brought him as she showed her thankfulness in him saving her life, her gratitude, and thinking now on who she was here this time, keeping that young girl captive, power mad, angry, the lies she kept from him. And then he thinks of the job he accepted. As he finishes gathering his stuff, he walks out and looks around the temple area, the temple grounds. And with her words still ringing in his ears, "You're a monster. You're a monster." He heads off to the road that he knows the Justicar will be riding back into the temple area on, so that he can meet him as soon as he arrives. And he'll just start heading that direction so that he can meet the Justicar. And in his ears it's ringing, "You're a monster, you're a monster." As he's walking on the road, knowing that he's going to stop the Justicar and take the money and hunt a friend.
And with that, the scene fades to black as Dryden looks over the road in the darkness with his Witcher's eyes.